Maruti Suzuki's People Technology presents Suzuki Connect with Navigate to Car and many other features.
Watch more, feel more. Dell.
Incredible, unbelievable, call it what you want, but a game to remember the 2021 T20 Men's World Cup by. Possibly the game of the tournament. We did have a final which now confirms that there will be a new champion at the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2021 as New Zealand and Australia shall book a berth for Sunday. Pakistan, who've been the standout team, will be heartbroken tonight after Matthew Wade and Marcus Stoinis put on 81 in nearly half the time after the game effectively went Pakistan's way when they got 176. There's so much to look back on, so much event, so much drama. And Tom Moody, Mahela, Jayawardene, and Ajit Agarkar will try and pick up on all of it on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. I just want to know first reactions on what you witnessed, because that game had a lot of people at the edge of their seats, neutral or not. Let's start with you, Tom Moody.
Yeah, look, I think, that's a great example of why T20 is such a brilliant format of the game. You're kept on the edge of your seat constantly. You feel a team is out of it, and it would take something special to, find their way back into it. And that's exactly what we saw. So, firstly, a very good partnership with Stoinis and Wade, but the way that Wade finished that game off was just remarkable. It really was spectacular cricket. We've had two very good semi-finals. The previous night with New Zealand and the heroics that we saw there at the back end. This is pretty much just as good, if not, a smidge better. So, we've been treated to some special T20 cricket.
Yeah. Mahela, let me get your first thoughts.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I think it's like last 4 overs. I mean, they got it with 1 over to spare, and 67 runs in 4 overs. The tempo, they picked the right bowlers and went after it. I mean, Matthew Wade, the way he finished, 10 balls, 34 runs. That's a remarkable finish in a World Cup semi-final, and he'll be very, very proud. And everyone will remember this. I mean, one more wicket, Pakistan skills to close the game down, but. Australia held their nerve. 81 runs was the partnership. Unbelievable, but in a semi-final, it was something to remember for everybody.
Deja vu, Ajit Agarkar, 24 hours later, we are discussing whether the bowlers got it right in the last few when they had the game in the first 16.
Yeah, but I mean, tonight was a bit different. I thought tonight, yesterday, England looked in control for most of the innings. With Warner's innings, Australia were always in with a chance, and with the depth that they have, Matthew Wade, the unlikely hero, to be honest, I didn't expect that from him. Perhaps that catch, but you could argue Fakhar Zaman's catch as well would have made a big difference. That's why you don't want to play Australia in at least the times that I played. You never wanted to play Australia in a knockout game because they are as good as they are, and I can't remember who said it in the Indian team that you always have to beat Australia to win a World Cup, and that seems to be proving true again. As much as it's a bit different to what the past Australian teams were about, but today they found a way. I always felt that score was gettable, but Pakistan looked like they were in control. And the one thing that Pakistan do well is bowl well at the end of the innings. But tonight, Australia were far too good. And that partnership, I mean, the very few times do you get a 6 and a 7 winning a game for you. And that was one of those instances.
Yeah. So before I go to Tom and Mahela again, Ajit, there's not a lot that Pakistan's bowlers did wrong. Was it pressure? Was it just exceptional hitting? Could they have done any better?
Surely they could have done better. I don't know how much dew there was because it didn't look like there was a lot of it. But your no balls, why did you expect? Because you're trying to bowl different lines every now and then you will sort of miss your mark. But the no balls, okay, one was rifles, but two crucial no balls at stages where Australia were trying to get going makes a huge difference. Just to the momentum, just to the mindset, and then the catches. I mean, you can compare that, like I said before, Fakhar Zaman's catch to Matthew Wade's, but it doesn't. As a team, you don't want that to happen to yourself because that could have been the turning point. Then Suddenly, Stoinis has to do more of the work. Cummins and Stark can clearly bat, but they have to come and hit sixes, which is never easy against a good bowling attack. So, yeah, Pakistan, I think, will be disappointed because they could have done a bit better. But Australia found two guys who actually won them the game, which is incredible. At one point, I didn't think, I mean, as much as they had the batting Australia, it was always a tough ask against that Pakistani bowling lineup. And they've proved why Australia are such a good team always.
Yeah, we were just talking about Matthew Wade yesterday, Tom, when we when Mahela and yourself, and we were discussing role clarity from franchise to international cricket. He likes to open the batting. Does Matthew Wade in the Big Bash? He's an all-format player over the last few years. Have you've seen a lot more of him than I have? Is this the best he's batted? And just take me through that innings because it was 80 or 45 when he came in, and he took 10 balls. I think he was 11 of 10, so he's almost got his eye in at a time where I thought he can't afford to.
Yeah, look, he's played obviously in the innings of his life, but he's also played some pretty big and significant innings prior to this. And what we've got to remember is Matthew Wade is also has played for Australia in Test cricket as a pure batsman. So the point I'm making is that we're not talking about a bits and pieces cricketer. We're talking about a guy that's got a serious skill with the bat. Yes, he has spent most of his time at the top of the order and had his success there in a Big Bash. He's also opened the batting with success for Australia. But it was identified, a number of months ago that he was going to be the man, and he was not going to be opening because obviously the Finch and Warner combination, he was going to have to fit in down the bottom. And the one advantage that Australia, I suppose, had was that having him at 7, you've got a pure batsman that is used to facing bowlers that bowl up to 150 and has got the range of shots to be able to find the boundary. And you just look at the sixes, those 2 sixes where he got inside it and scooped it over short fine leg. That's a shot and a controlled shot of a player that knows his game and understands his way around the crease to be able to score at 360. So yeah, as good as it was, if you dig deep, Matthew Wade is he's an experienced player that's faced many challenges as a batsman.
It's a fascinating story of unlikely heroes, isn't it, Myla? Because you think on a night like this, you needed Steve Smith or you needed Glenn Maxwell with their experience. Those 5 and 10 ball innings seem to be filled with pressure that was mounting, and here you have Stoinis and Wade who've taken you over the line, perhaps unexpected. Does that tell you something?
Yeah, I mean, these are experienced players, Ranak. I mean, these guys have been in this situation. They've had nothing to lose. It's like last night where you're walking into a situation like Jimmy Neesham did, and he just plays his game, and there was nothing different for Matthew Wade and Stoinis. I mean, they were the last two recognized batsmen. They knew they still had to score 11 runs, 12 runs, and over. It was at 13 at one point when there was 6 over. And they took some calculated risks. They hit some really good shots. I mean, they kept their shape. The only criticism with the Pakistan bowlers, they did not bowl those wide lines, like going away from those arcs. It was very conventional. It was either the Yorker or the slow ball or the back of a length. So the two Australian batsmen did premeditate. They pick up a few balls and they execute it, and they put a lot of pressure on those bowlers. And once those Yorkers, the straight Yorkers, are not working for you, and especially when Matthew Wade goes down and picks it up when you're trying to bowl a Yorker, it's not easy to execute either. I think it was just amazing maturity these two batsmen showed. And they just thrive on the situation, and the Pakistani bowlers also under pressure did not execute well.
I'd like to stick with you, Myla, on just David Warner's innings, which might be forgotten as a result of Matthew Wade and Marcus Stoinis. But that innings head up, we won't see the best of Warner, and you can also take me through whether the bat makes funny noises sometimes when the ball is this far away from it.
I just it's amazing actually when you watched it live. I honestly thought he nicked it as well. There was a sound, and even on slow motion there was a sound, but there was a huge gap between the bat and ball, and Warner walked off as well. So he probably would have thought that he nicked it, but it was amazing innings. I think it just shows that what a little bit of confidence can do to a batsman, and he comes back and he was the vintage Warner, striking around 180. Sometimes it was at 200 when the wickets were falling around him. He just kept the momentum going because they knew they were chasing 170, and there's no way that they could catch up too much at the back end. And even Mitch Marsh, I know it wasn't at his best, but still he showed that tempo and kept it going. So I think hats off to Australia. They've got a powerhouse of a batting lineup. They've shown that you need to keep your nerves at the back end, and the experienced guys have come through. I mean, Matthew Wade's been around for a long time. David Warner's been for a long time.
Yep. Yep.
Stoinis have been playing T20 cricket for some time as well. So it's just amazing how little bit of maturity, how little bit of game awareness can change tempos, change momentums of when you're especially chasing big scores.
Yeah, fair enough. Because at no point did that run rate ever go 15 plus, 16 plus. You think if there was control in the game, it was because of what Warner did in the first half. Is it that damn cultural review, Tom, that Warner starts walking now suddenly, even when he doesn't nick it? Yeah, you
It
don't need
was
to
a
answer that.
puzzle. It was a puzzle to us all. It was a puzzle to us all. Just a little moment of confusion.
All right. Tom Moody's been waiting for that David Warner to show up this season, but never mind. He's done it for his side in the past. But it's been brilliant from Australia. They book a berth with New Zealand. But before we go off, I can't help but at least spare a little time on Pakistan, Ajit. 4 wickets for Shadab Khan today. Fakhar Zaman, an unlikely hero. We've mentioned pretty much every player through the course of this tournament. It's heartbreaking for them, but what a team they've been. Plenty to take away from it.
Lots to take away. I think they've. I mean, yeah, Australia has won tonight, but I think Pakistan have been the better team in this competition than Australia. If you compare, man to man, Australia have just turned up in a game that mattered, and Pakistan will learn from this experience. There are lots of young guys in that team. You can't see any. Of course, they'll have to find some batsmen. Maybe Hafiz and Malik may not be there around another year's time, so they might have to find some batters there. But apart from that, you can't see too many weaknesses in this Pakistan team, and it didn't quite work out for them tonight because Australia was so good. Uh, but that is a serious Australian team. Sorry, the Pakistani team, and they showed a lot of maturity till towards that end of the innings, where obviously the pressure is quite high at that point. But I think it was a very mature performance from Pakistan, particularly in the batting, which I mean, the highest score that Mahela was the one who predicted was 160, and they got well above that. Tells you how well
Yeah.
they batted and put pressure on Australia. Australia were far too good with the bat on the night, or found heroes on the night. But this is a very good Pakistan team, and yeah, they tough for them not to get to the finals. But the team eventually that stands up on the night has got to the final, and that's Australia. So, but
Yeah.
Pakistan have got to hold their heads up high.
Yeah, I'm quite certain that the sentiment would be shared by Myla and Tom that Pakistan have been the standout team, you think, in this tournament. In which case, I must ask the three of you. All of us are so well acquainted with the IPL, and we now have two teams that finished second in their group play the final, not the two strong teams, the table toppers of their respectives pools. So, is a playoff system a greater way to achieve the best two teams in the final? I personally love World Cup semi-finals, Ajit Agarkar, but could the ICC learn from the IPL a playoff to allow a team that's played so well in the league phase another chance to make a final?
No, I quite prefer this, to be honest, because a league is a bit different, and yeah, I know there are league phases in this as well, but this is where it counts. If you can handle the pressure, you can deal with the pressure, you can play the big moments well, you're in the finals. No, I quite prefer this format, to be
Fair enough.
honest. Generally the better teams gets through. New Zealand last night and Australia tonight.
Yeah, Myla, happy with that? Semi-finals over playoffs?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, this is what pressure is all about. You can be playing some champagne cricket, but you need to be under pressure as well. I think New Zealand and Australia showed that, they turned up on the day. There were match winners, there were heroes, and that's what, fans, we all love that. I mean, who would have thought, Darren Mitchell is going to, bat like that last night, and Matthew Wade and Stone is going to put up a 80-run partnership. This is the beauty of T20 cricket. This is the beauty of under pressure executing, and to be a neutral and enjoy a game of cricket like this. It's fantastic because if you're playing those the way the IPL plays and all that, you know there's a safety net behind you at a certain point. So then you're taking far too many risks. Here you can't take risks. The nerves, the whole adrenaline. It's just brilliant. It's just and I'm a big believer in this semi-final setup. I think everyone gets a fair opportunity. There was not much due as well, so there's not much to complain. I thought it was a brilliant game of cricket.
Tom, final word from you, if anything to add.
Yeah, not really. No, I agree with both Mahela and Ajit in that it's the charm of the World Cup. Semi-final, final. Bring your best cricket right to the end of the tournament, and you're champions.
Simple as that. And we will have new champions. The T20 World Cup is going either side of the Tasman. Tom Moody, which way will it go? It's coming to your part of the world. Is it coming home?
Yeah, I just sense Australia's momentum is just growing, and it has grown throughout the tournament. I fear for New Zealand in the sense that maybe they played their final yesterday.
No matter what happens, New Zealand will be underdogs. They will always be second favourites, but it should make for a fascinating final. This is where I thank Mahela Jayawardene. It's been an absolute pleasure, Mahela, having you on a busy schedule to join us for the T20 World Cup. It shouldn't be long before we have you again, and best wishes to everything that comes your way in the next few months. Mahela, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, Ajit Agarkar, Tom Moody, you guys have one more day of hard work. I will see you for the final where Daniel Vittori will join us as well. So we look forward to your company on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket Info T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. And what a final it promises to be if it is even remotely close to the two semi-finals that preceded it. On our way out, some more fascinating visuals from the UAE, powered by Dell.
Maruti Suzuki's People Technology presents Suzuki Connect with Navigate to Car and many other features.
Watch more, feel more, Dell.